contribution for modern drug discovery from ethnomedicines. Keep on the good work going. Thank you very much. And I'd like to introduce our colleague from India, from Mumbai, Department of Life Sciences. He has a track of biochemistry, mainly of the traditional plants as well as pharmaceuticals. And I don't want to take his time too much, and I leave the floor to him for his presentation. Please keep in time with the 20 minutes as a reminder. Thank you very much, Dr. Ali. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you, Dr. Fateh, for this nice introduction and giving me the opportunity. So first of all, I'm thankful to Khojaly Metropolitan for organizing such a wonderful conference, and the chief organizers, Dr. Khanan Taskan and Dr. Tahir, for inviting me to this occasion to give my share my work and share my thoughts during this conference. So I'll start the presentation now with your permission. So I hope my PPT is visible to everyone.
Perfect.
Yes.
Move on.
Yeah, so the topic which I have chosen for this occasion is traditional and modern uses of Nigella sativa, black cumin. So initially, I'll briefly talk about this plant and plant parts and how does it look like. It is an annual flowering plant belonging to a family of Ranunculaceae, and it has been found all over the world, mostly Southern Europe, North Africa, and Southwest Asia. It has been found and reported that it has been used, this plant has been used as a medicine in various systems like Chinese, Greek, Ayurveda, and Arabic. So a few that it's a herb that bears alternate leaves, terminal white flowers, and capsule-like structures, flowers with 5 to 10 petals, and fruit is 2.5 to 3.5 millimeter in length and with 1.5 to 2 millimeter. So in various literature, it is known in various languages, it's known by different names. In Arabic, it is Habat al-Baraka. You have very many English names like black cumin, black caraway, fennel flower, black coriander. In Hindi and Urdu, it is known as black klonji. In Persian, it is known as siyohdane, and in Turkish also, it's known as kara chork utu or siyah kumun. I hope I'm pronunciating it properly. So this is the plant looks like this. The main property which has been reported in the literature in the traditional medicine as well as the modern medicine is because of the presence of a wide range of nutrients which include fats, proteins, and dietary fiber. And people have included it in the superfoods because of this high amounts of this phytoconstituents. As far as from the secondary metabolite groups are concerned, the main components are thymoquinone, thymohydroquinone, P-cymene or carvacrol, along with thymol and other components. And if you see the literature, you will realize that the most of the activities and most of the work has been done with this Nigella sativa on the thymoquinone. So this is the structure of the main phytoconstituents of this plant. And this, so mostly the seed is used for various purposes because it has high content of essential oils as well as many other compounds. So thymoquinone and thymol, P-cyanine, and this structures can be seen here. So this table I'll not go into detail because it shows all the phytoconstituents with their respective percentages present in. So you can see that there are many things like protein, carbohydrates, fibers, minerals, and volatile oils. So accordingly, it has been grouped into the superfood. So I'm coming to its report in traditional medicine. So I'll start with a very famous hadith of Prophet Muhammad, where he said that there is no disease that Allah has created, except that He has also created its treatment. The hadith which is related to black cumin is well known, and it has been cited in many papers. The hadith says that there is healing in black cumin for all diseases except death. So with this quote and literature from other people have been realized the importance of this. In Holy Bible also it has been mentioned as a curative black seed. However, if you go for a written reference, we find this in the book of Isaiah in the Old Testament, where Isaiah talks of the harvesting of the black seed. Similarly, it has been mentioned by Hippocrates and Dioscorides in early BC and after BC. One is one will realize that its importance is also found in the Pharaoh culture, where it used to be kept in as oil along with gold and diamonds. So one can realize that how important it was in the Egyptian culture during Pharaoh's time, and especially this Pharaoh Tutankhamun, or in very short Pharaoh Tut. So it has been also reported that Queen Nefertiti also used Nigella sativa oil. Another report says that it was found as black seed was found mixed with honey and beeswax in a pilgrim flask from the old Hittite period level of Boyali Puyu, which dates back to 1650 BC in north central Turkey. And one of the exhaustive report which mentions about the properties of this plant is in the Canon of Medicine written by Ibn Sina, where he recommended its use to cure fever, wounds, skin diseases, fungus, parasites, and against bites and stings of poisonous animals. So moving ahead, seeds have been used traditionally in Middle Eastern folk mainly, dating back to more than 2000 years back, 2000 years ago. Basically, seeds were used as pungent appetizer, aromatic, thermogenic, diuretic, expectorant, sedative, and carminative. And they have been used in Arabic herbal medicine to treat some of these diseases. So to summarize that, what are the beneficial or health benefits of this Nigella sativa, depending on the literature available in traditional medicine and the modern medicine, we can say that it has anti-cancer properties, anti-diabetic activity, anti-parasitic activity, anti-inflammatory, antimicrobial, and so on. So I will mainly talk about the anti-diabetic activities, because one of the aspects of this Nigella sativa is being worked out in my lab. So where literature says that 2 grams daily of this black seed can result in reducing fasting blood sugar levels, decreased insulin resistance, and increased beta cell function in the pancreas. It has shown to further increase its effectivity when given along with alpha lipoic acid and L-carnitine. So the one mechanism is another mechanism by which this Nigella sativa seed extract work is through antioxidant activity, because we know that oxidative stress is one of the many culprit during the diabetes. So antioxidant activity of Nigella sativa helps in decreasing the incidence of diabetes mellitus, which is through oxidative stress. So I'll be focusing on this anti-glycating activity, which is because of the hyperglycemic condition in the blood during the diabetes. So what happens if there is excess of glucose in the blood? It reacts with amino groups of the protein, lipids, or other nitrogenous compounds. So leading to a combination of products which are known as early glycation or Amadori products and advanced glycation products. And these products have been shown to have various deleterious effect in our body. So you can see that this is the scheme by which advanced glycation and products are generated in the body. And this is the way by which they are implicated in various pathophysiological conditions like diabetes, cataract, Alzheimer's, and kidney diseases, as well as cardiovascular diseases. So basically they cause cross-linking and aggregation of the proteins, as well as they are involved in the generation of free radicals. So many products have been designed, but these synthetic products have their own side effects. So people have been looking for natural antioxidants or natural anti-glycating compounds. So we started our work with a preliminary anti-diabetic checking of anti-diabetic potential of N-sativa, and we could found that alpha amylase activity was significantly reduced by this. Then we went on to measure the effect of this extract as well as thymoquinone on the generation of early glycation product. We could clearly show that aqueous extract was more potential, and if you compare extract and the phytoconstituent, that is thymoquinone, we can see that thymoquinone was more potent, and that also at a very low concentration, that is 20 micromolar. So then we measure the total amount of advanced glycation product that is done through spectrophotometry. So we could show that the amount of advanced glycation product increases in the presence of or in the system of BSA and glucose, which was drastically reduced in the presence of extract as well as thymoquinone. So we can show that by more than 39% and 54%. Glycation also induces structural changes in the proteins, which we analyze through CDS spectrum. So it gives an idea about what are the perturbations in the structure of proteins. Our protein, which has been model used here as BSA. So we could show that glycation induced structural alteration in alpha and beta sheets, beta sheets structures, and addition of this or presence of this thymoquinone maintained the secondary structure, means it didn't allow the structural alteration of BSA due to glycation. We also measured the amount of aggregation, because aggregation has been shown linked to the glycation process. So aggregation of protein is generally measured by several methods. So we could show here that in both the presence of aqueous methanolic extract of the seed as well as thymoquinone, it clearly indicates that glycation induced, because our system was glycation induced aggregation. So we could clearly show that it can prevent glycation induced aggregation. And we have in other studies also shown, which I am not showing here, that thymoquinone has been quite efficient in preventing the thermal aggregation of the proteins also. So then we check the effect of glycoxidation, that is glycation and oxidation on the DNA. So this glycoxidation process clearly damaged the DNA. We use the plasmid PBR322 here. So it gets changed to various conformation, different conformation from supercoil is the native structure, and then it gets converted to circular or linear when there is a damage to the DNA. So we could show that glycation system was able to damage the DNA by converting the supercoiled DNA to circular and linear. On the other hand, addition of this extracts prevented this. So maybe this effect is because of the antioxidant property of the extracts. Then we check the effect of this thymoquinone, and we could show that thymoquinone was also very efficient in preventing the damage of the DNA induced because of the glycation, even at very low concentration of 10 micromolar. So all this work has been published in Journal of Biomolecular Structure and Dynamics recently, and one of our previous work has been published in NBO journal, which is being looked after Dr. Fatih. We published a paper on anti-glycation and anti-aggregation potential of thymoquinone, and that paper has been cited many times in literature. And this is a general review where I have talked about the potential of thymoquinone, and this is the recent book chapter we have written. So to conclude, everyone, we are all now realizing that herbal products can be used as complementary to medicine, and it has been gaining immense worldwide popularity. And many drugs are being derived directly from plant. We have many examples like morphine or aspirin or many drugs which are being derived from the natural compounds or secondary metabolites, and they have shown to have a better potential in working as a drug as compared to their counterpart from the synthetic drugs. So this Nigella sativa, as far as literature is concerned, we can say that it has remarkable in vitro and in vivo biological activities. And one of the basic, very fundamental feature of Nigella sativa, which has been mentioned in many literature, is that it is found to be relatively safe. Whether we use the thymoquinone or extract, there has not been much adverse effect or cytotoxicity effect on the system where it is being used. So the biological activities of this N-sativa seeds could be because of the presence of this phytoconstituents like thymoquinone, p-cymine, and carbapenem, which are the main phytoconstituents. So adding seeds of N-sativa to the diet could provide multiple health benefits. And as far as our glycation work is concerned, we could show that seeds as well as thymoquinone have prominent anti-glycating, anti-diabetic, and antioxidant properties. They are also significant for prevention of secondary complications of diabetes like glucotoxicity, glycooxidation, as well as glycation-mediated processes like aggregation, which is a major biochemical phenomenon in the neurological disorders. So finally, we can conclude that isolated and pure compounds are very effective in prevention of glycation-mediated changes in biomolecules. So these are some references, and these are the variety of flowers which we see for Nigella sativa. And thank you for listening to me.
Thank you very much, Dr. Ahmed Ali. We appreciate your presentation. One of my colleagues from Germany, the participant, has mentioned that Nigella sativa some problems due to pyrrolizidine alkaloids. So beneficial use, however, first with safe levels of pesticides or very common heavy metals, as you know, due to environmental factors and the low standardization. Even myself was able to detect microbial growth due to various factors on the seeds due to improper drying. Very simple. It's a very beneficial plant material. However, before using it correctly, we need a pharmaceutical quality rather than food supplement, etc. Thank you for your contribution. There were some.
I will just mention another drawback
Please
to this,
go on.
because I have been mentioning about thiamoquinone and thiamoquinone every time.
Yes.
The biggest disadvantage of thiamoquinone is that it is hydrophobic. It is not soluble in water. So we have not been able to reap the benefit of this. People are have derivatized it, and they have shown that the derivatized form, which is soluble in water, has better potential. Because unless it is any compound drug is water solubility, doesn't make much of a difference for our health benefits. So that is the biggest concern for this.
You are correct. The solubility for intake and for excretion of from our system is also very important. That's why we need to have correct concentration doses, even for food supplementation. So we cannot take 100 grams a day for 15-20 days because it's beneficial. This is another aspect we have to highlight. Thank you very much. If there are further questions, we will go on in the final tour, and I move on to my.
Thank you again. Thank you.
Thank you. See you
nice
in a
meeting you.
minute. Stay on. Thank you for your contribution.